Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, we're going to talk about Dragonlord Dromoka and how I'm bad at deck building. 6 mana, 5/7 can't be counter flying. Lifelink, and your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Sounds amazing. However, I got influenced by outside sources. Around the time I sit down to build this deck, the guild kits came out. And so that was fresh on my mind. Of course, I bought one of each guild kit. I actually bought two of the green white one because a friend of mine, his wife wanted the Voja token. So I've got that on my mind. And I sit down to build Dragonlord Dromoka, and I instantly wanted to do Ghazi Glare. For those that were not playing back in 2005 when Ravnica came out, Ravnica City of Guilds, Vitu is the land that you just slowly grind out a Saproling token every turn. That's the Ghazi part. The glare was the glare of Subdual. So what the deck did back then was it had a couple of threats, pretty good threats, and then a bunch of small creatures that they just tap down all blockers. You just tap everything down and you swing in with your beaters. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. Even though, I mean, there's a ton of different ways you could build Dragonlord Dromoka, and they're all probably amazing because it's a great card. So that's what I wanted to do. I have yet to build an EDH version of Ghazi Glare. And while I had the guild kit binder out, right in the same deck was Privileged Position. So I'm like, wow, okay, that actually, that works on anything you want to do. So, let's look at, I guess, Ramp. I did all three versions of Ramp in the deck. Of course, we have Llanowar, Elvish Mystic, Boreal Druid, and then the Selesnya Mana Rocks that are more fixing than Ramp. I guess it puts you up by one. And then, of course, Ranger's Path, the Pilgrimage, Grow from Ashes, Hour of Promise, and Sylvan Ranger. So that's my mana ramp suite, if you will. Now, I was like, okay, so I'm going Ghazi Glare. What do I need to do? I need to produce a ton of small dudes. Well, I'm already running these mana elves. You know who can produce tokens pretty good? Elves. And they're pretty cheap. So I did a small elf package. It's not like, a crazy big one. Uh, run across the elves there. Of course, the Perfect, Dwayne, Jagged Scar, Elvish Vanguard, Elvish Archdruid, Elf Mom. The Guild Mage is an elf, and it does all kinds of cool things. Everything that you want to do. To Well Wisher, gain you a little bit of life. The Rex Sage for some removal. Timber Watch for, target creature. It doesn't have to be an elf, so you can give your Dromoka a plus number of elves in play. So that's cool. The buy one, get one free Hunt Master. And the Pack Master here. The Pack Master is outstanding for just token based decks. I mean, 3 mana Wolf that has Death Touch. Whoa. And of course, I'm playing This Is Chosen. Now, since I'm playing This Is Chosen, you know what the next card is going to be. Oh, I dropped it. Because there's only really one reason to ever play This Is Chosen, and that's if you're playing Nissa. Net you some life, and can unanswered, she can just absolutely get out of hand. Imara. Also an elf. With all those elves, Elvish Promenade seems pretty good. Now, this next category is just generic token makers because it's not, as I said, it's not a full-fledged elf deck. It's not. It's more focused on tokens than anything else. I mean, really, really focused on tokens. So we have the big token making spells, you know, the Nomad's Assembly, White Sun Zenith, March of the Multitude, Storm Herd, Deploy to the Front, and then the creatures that make tokens, of course, the Verdant Force and the Ant Queen. Spawn Wraith can... I want Spawn Wraith to work so bad, but it's just so slow. It has to be combat damage, and in any deck that you're running a whole, like, hasty multiple attack steps, you're not wanting Spawn Wraith in that deck, so I don't know. Silver and Offering, you can make a friend or make two friends. Master of the Wild Hunt. Martial Coup, doubles down as a board wipe if you need it to be. And then, of course, everybody's favorite good boy, Dvoja. Oh, yeah, he also brings Tolsimir with him, too. And it helps out. It pumps your general, pumps your entire deck, you know. Now, so for tokens, I was like, run across Blade of Selves. And I'm like, well, Blade of Selves is good and all, especially if you get it on one of like the Elf Champions. Whoa. So I was like, you know what? I need to try to put in a few creatures that are pretty decent to put the Blade of Selves on. Of course, just about doesn't get any better than Acidic Slime or Terastodon. Now, also the Blade of Selves does put the tokens into play, so albeit they're very temporary. And with Parallel Lives, all of those extra tokens that Myriad makes do go away. I mean, you get to choose how they attack, and that's fine, but they will go away, the double tokens. But while they're there, I mean, you got that many creatures for things like Seraph of the Masses and Shanna, because, they're really, really big at that point. Camaraderie. Is this not everything we want to do in green and white? Gain life, draw cards, pump team. I mean, this is legit the truth. Now, speaking of drawing a card, Mentor of the Meek's going to do some work for card draw for us. Join Shields is going to protect us from a board wipe. At least one, anyway. Let's go ahead and throw the elephant out there. Chroma's Memorials is just a good, solid card. And I'm having trouble thinking of a deck that doesn't need it. I mean, even if the only creature in the deck is the commander, it's probably useful. Love it. Now, Reprisal, I can't help you here. I honestly don't know why I put this in there. 2 mana. Most of the creatures you're going to worry about are going to be power 4 or greater. I'm reading it. I'm trying to sell myself on it. I mean, it's not bad. 2 mana instant, pop a dude. It would be okay if it was black, but in white, actually, it wouldn't be okay in black. I mean, it is a card that nobody ever sees coming. So, Restock's going to get us back 2 things. Probably your, enchantments once they kill them. Sundering Growth. I like this. In this deck, it's of course definitively better than Naturalized because it's got that Sundering or the Populate tacked onto it. Now, Shield of the Avatar on our commander. I don't know that I've put this in a deck before, but wow. So he just about will not be able to take damage. Pretty neat. Course of the Might is going to give it trample, +1 for each creature at instant speed. Now, we have a similar with the enchantment version. It just gives +1 for each creature you control. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a ton of actual tokens and creatures and stuff, which sets us up for our last card. I don't know how this is not getting more play. Granted, we live in the board wipiest format that there is, and sometimes it's hard to stick 20 creatures. But by the same token, it's not hard to get 20 at once with enough mana. And we've all seen decks to where you've got 15 mana out there or something dumb like that. With enough mana, you just Storm Herd, Epic Struggle, pass turn, and hope for the best, Or you cast Epic Struggle so far ahead that everybody forgets about it. But either way, 20 or more creatures wins the game. This would be a good cause for a good point for Mr. Quai's favorite card, Veldalkin Ore. If you could Veldalkin Ore and cast Epic Struggle at the end of the turn before yours, that's the magic. That's you doing it then. So, but now let's look at some lands. Of course, I'm gonna blow right through just the colored ones: Sanctuary, Guildgate, Expanse. Now, Tempest had two different cycles: a friendly cycle of duels and a enemy cycle of duels. The friendly ones, you could tap for a colorless, or if you tap for the color, they didn't untap. Now, the enemy color ones come into play tapped. You could tap for a color, or if you tap for colorless. If you tapped for the color, they did damage. So these are they're not great, but it does give us access to another dual land. Grasslands, Blossoming, Crows and Verge. We're going to fetch some stuff up. The Elfhane Palace, Brushlands, Evolving and Terramorphic, Blighted and Secluded Steppe, and lastly, of course, Winding Canyons. I've had Winding Canyons in the binder for a while. I know y'all have seen them here lately. I think this is the third or fourth one, but it's really good. And I think in this deck it may be a little better because we have more low to the ground creatures. So once you pay that activation once, you can flood out 3 or 4 elves. So that is what I have got for Dragonlord Dromoka. Probably the most not Dragonlord build. He's just one of those generals. There's a million ways to do. But I do appreciate you watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But here. These are the Celestina. Since I bought 2 of those, I had enough to do the basic lands, and I'm telling you, they are gorgeous. Now, when you list the deck on Tapped Out, all you can do is type in Forest and where the set it's from, which is Guild Kit 1. You don't get to pick which forest or which plane. So the art that shows up on the Tapped Out page is not the right one. These are, because these are the actual Celestia forested plains. I love them. I wish the foils weren't so dang hard to get, because y'all know I'm part raccoon and I love the shiny things. But anyway, that's what I've got. I think right now it's time to shuffle and cut.